Hey guys, thank you for joining me for another video. This week we're going to take a break from our journey through the story of the Bible, and we're going to take a couple weeks at the beginning of this summer to think about the question, how should I use my time this summer? Summertime presents both opportunity and danger to us. The extra freedom and time, it can be used well or it can be wasted. You know, in middle school and high school, we typically view summer as unlimited free time away from school to have fun, relax, or earn some extra cash. And while I hope you have fun this summer, and I hope that maybe you're able to work some, I want to challenge you to look beyond these uses for your summer, because you could have a lot of fun this summer, you could earn a lot of money, and you could waste your summer at the same time. Just like you can live your life for fun, comfort, ease, money, and waste your life. Life is about more than these things. Your summer is about more than these things. And so in this video and in our video next week, I want to challenge you not to waste your summer. We're going to be in Luke chapter 12 in this video. So if you have a Bible, you can get that out and follow along. Luke chapter 12, verse 13, and also put the words on the screen as I read. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who made me a judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully. And he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God.'" In this passage in Luke chapter 12, Jesus teaches us the danger and foolishness of living for money, for stuff, for retirement, for comfort, for ease. He points us to a better way. And I think we can learn from his words about how we can use our summer well and how we cannot waste it. You won't waste your summer if you seek to be rich toward God rather than rich in the stuff, the achievements, the fun of the world. And so use your summer to evaluate what you treasure most and to seek to treasure Jesus more and more. Well, in this passage in Luke chapter 12, I think we see three ways we could seek to be rich toward God and not waste our summer or our lives. First, watch out for covetousness. Life is not about how much stuff you have. In Luke chapter 12, Jesus is teaching the people, and a man rises up. He asks Jesus to help him convince his brother to divide the inheritance with him. We don't know the exact situation of what's going on here, but it's probably a younger brother, and he thinks his older brother is not giving him what he deserves. And so he asks Jesus to help him. Jesus doesn't take the bait. He goes to the heart of the issue for probably both of them, and that is greed or covetousness. And he says, be on your guard. Watch out for covetousness. Now, covetousness is desiring something you don't have. Maybe somebody else has it, maybe not, but it's desiring something you don't have. It's greed. And Paul describes it as idolatry. It's wanting something so much you're willing to almost do anything to get it, and your desire for that thing is greater than your desire for God, and it's almost as if you're worshiping that thing. Even if you wouldn't put it that way, you are worshiping that thing that you desire, and you're desiring it more than God, and so it is idolatry. Jesus also teaches that life isn't about how much stuff you have. Life does not consist in the abundance of your possessions. That's not what life is all about. Your life, your summer, are not about accumulating cool stuff or having a lot of fun or making a lot of money or beating that video game. Our world wants us to live for these things. The ads on TV, ads on the internet, they beckon us to live for stuff, live for fun, for a new car, new clothes, new shoes, new video game consoles, new iPhones, and on and on. And underlying all of this is one sort of greed or another, one sort of covetousness or another, which means we want to worship at the altar of a false god. When your life becomes about getting out of work and having fun, or about getting that job to earn money for yourself, you're worshiping something other than God. You're worshiping fun, you're worshiping money, you're worshiping comfort, you're worshiping your own earthly security. You're worshiping a false god. And so watch out, Jesus says. Be careful. These flimsy things that we often live for by nature as sinners, they're flimsy. They won't satisfy. It's not what life is about. Building your life on these things is like building a house on Play-Doh. It won't stand. This summer, take time to evaluate your heart. What are you living for? Are you living for fun? Are you living for comfort? Are you living for money, stuff, whatever? What does your life consist of? Or what do you want it to consist of? For what are you living your life? Watch out for greed in your heart. Watch out for covetousness. Watch out for desiring something more than you desire God, more than you desire Christ. And live for something greater this summer and your whole life. Live for God's kingdom. Live for Jesus. Your life comes from God, and you are meant to worship Him and glorify Him with your life. Your very breath is in the hand of God. Everything you have comes from God. Have you given your life to Him? Have you followed Jesus? Have you trusted in Him and found real life in Him? Live your life with an ever-growing faith in Jesus for true eternal life. That's what life is about. It's living for God, worshiping Him, exalting Him. Don't waste your summer by living in greed or living just to have fun or just to make money or just to have cool experiences or even to feel safe. Use your summer to worship God by doing all things, even when you do have fun. And I want you to have fun this summer, or if you're working, that's great. Do all those things, but do them with an eye to God's glory and do them in a way that pleases Him. The second way we can seek to be rich toward God and not waste our lives or our summers is by remembering that our days are numbered and living like it. Remember that your days are numbered and live like it. So Jesus, He tells a story in Luke chapter 12 about a rich man who trusted in his wealth and who planned for a future retirement full of relaxation, good food and drink, and happiness. This man chalked his life up to his stuff to give him the good things in life. He was living for himself. He saw his wealth as his opportunity for a good life, a life of ease, comfort, and pleasure. Yet he forgot that his days were numbered. He tells us, hey, soul, this is what we're going to do. So, hey, relax, take it easy, eat, drink, and be merry. And yet God says, fool, this very night your soul is required of you. This very night, the day of your death has come. All of his stuff that he had accumulated, where did it go? To someone else. It wasn't his anymore. It didn't do him any good in the end. All the stuff we accumulate, all the money, all the experiences we desire can be taken in a second when death comes knocking on our door. If you are living for fun, money, comfort like this man in Jesus' parable was, then like the man, you are living like a fool. All of these things fade away and will do us no good when the day of death comes for each of us. Death is always closer to us than we think. Our days are numbered. We might feel safe. You probably feel young, and like death is a long, long ways away. Yet our lives are limited, and you are one day closer to death than you were yesterday. And we want to just live to have a good time or to have a romantic relationship, or we want to live for money, for clothes, or for cool technology. You care more about getting a higher score on that game or perfecting your three-point shot. All of these things will slip from your fingers, slip away. Death will one day take them away. We can enjoy these things. We should enjoy these things, but we must remember they are temporary. and that they are not what life is about. And so we should seek to live differently each day. Seek differently to live this summer. Live like a person who knows that your days are numbered. And you can do this by using your time for things that will last. Use your time for things that will last, like your relationship with God. Your relationship with God will last forever. Do you have a relationship with God through Jesus? Have you trusted in Him? That is something that will last forever, because when death comes, to be absent from the body, to die is to be present with the Lord. And so if you have a relationship with God, death is gain. It's not loss, it's gain. Your relationship with God will last. And so live for that. Cultivate your relationship with God. Seek to know Him more through His Word and through praying and through gathering with God's people, through learning and growing to know Him more. I want to encourage you this summer to put down your smartphone, put down the video game controller, and pick up the Bible and read and get to know God more. Make it a habit, if it's not already a discipline in your life, to read God's Word, not just to get some more head knowledge about God, not just to check off a box, but so that you can know God more, because your knowledge of God, your relationship with God, it will last forever. Have you trusted in Christ? Do you have a real relationship with God? That will last forever. Live for that. Live like your days are numbered by seeking to every day cultivate your relationship with God, growing closer to Him. Also, if you want to use your time this summer for things that will last, live a life of love for others. Stuff will vanish, jobs will decline, things will get boring, towering cathedrals will burn, even nations will crumble and fall, never to rise again. But people live on, either with God or under God's righteous judgment. So live to do good to others, especially by loving them enough to share with them the truth of the gospel with them. Do your friends know Jesus? Do they have a relationship with God? Does your family know Jesus? Make your life and your summer about something that will last, and that is loving others. This summer, live to love others and share with them the good news of Jesus. Also, use this extra time you have this summer on developing skills and habits that will help serve others and add true value to the world for God's glory. Things like maybe picking up a musical instrument, learning how to play music for the good of others, to worship God, to serve the church, or even something like learning some technological skills, coding, design, things like that will help you and improve a valuable skill so that you can serve others and glorify God. Or one of my personal favorites, pick up a book and read, learn and grow so you can better communicate with others and understand others. Or something like baking or cooking, learning a skill that can help you serve others and can glorify God and be a productive use of your time for the good of others, out of love for others and the glory of God. But most importantly, being a person who prays for others, who shares the truth with others, and who glorifies God by making Jesus look great in your life. Don't waste your summer by living like you've got all the time in the world. Live this summer and the rest of your earthly days with a greater purpose for what will last. The third way we can seek to be rich toward God and not waste our lives or our summer is by seeking to store up treasure in heaven, not on earth for ourselves. Seek to store up treasure in heaven, not on earth for yourself. Jesus teaches that we should be rich toward God, not store up treasure for ourselves. That's kind of the main point of this parable he tells, that if you live like this man and you store up treasure for yourselves, this is what's going to happen to you. It's not going to last. It's going to slip from your fingers. It's going to go to somebody else one day. But we should seek to be rich toward God. The rich man, he stored up treasure for himself. He forgot that everything he had wasn't really his anyway. It came from God. So we should seek to be rich toward God, to know God, to live for God, to use what God has given us to help others and to honor Him. And Jesus continues in Luke chapter 12 with a familiar passage to many of us, as he says we shouldn't be anxious about the things of life, what we're going to eat, what we're going to drink, the clothes we're going to wear. We should seek first God's kingdom and look to Him to provide for our needs. We should store up treasure in heaven instead of worrying about money, food, and clothes and so on, and trying to store up for ourselves treasures on earth. We should store up treasures in heaven. We should treasure Jesus. That's ultimately what it means to store up treasure in heaven, to treasure Jesus, to delight in him as our greatest treasure, and to live like this is true. To give to others as well. That's what Jesus says. He says, sell your possessions, give to the needy, provide yourselves with money bags that do not grow old, and with a treasure in the heavens that does not fail, where no thief approaches and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And so you can store up treasure in heaven by giving to others, giving of your time to help, to serve, to love others, giving of your money. Think, how can you be generous with what God has given you this summer? By giving to those in need and working to the good of others, you are storing up a heavenly treasure. And so I want to challenge you, maybe instead of working this summer to save up for that new phone or game or car or clothes, what if you worked this summer to save up something to give to those in need, to give to the cause of the gospel here in Kentucky or around the world? That would make Jesus look great. That would be storing up something that is more valuable and lasting than the things of this world that we can enjoy, and they're good things, but won't last, will one day fade away. Don't waste your summer by living for yourself. And that's our default, isn't it? To live for ourselves, to live selfishly. And yet Jesus, he teaches us the better way. He gave up his life so that we may live. He died that we might live. He died so that we who now live by faith in him would not live for ourselves, but for him. And so use your summer to store up treasure in heaven, to treasure Jesus more, to give what God has given you to those in need, to live your life for God, out of love for God, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, to love your neighbor, all those around you, as you love yourself. You only have one summer of 2020. How will you use it? I know there's a lot of crazy things going on in our world right now. But how are you going to use this summer? Your summer won't be wasted if you seek to use it for Jesus and his kingdom, to be rich toward God, to treasure Jesus and all that he treasures more and more. So watch out for covetousness. Remember that your days are numbered, and seek to store up treasure in heaven. If you do so, your summer of 2020 won't be wasted.